Good morning, everyone. Once again, you are welcome to GES 151 class and Modern Agriculture and Rural Development. Today, we are on lesson 5, Agricultural Mechanization. What is agricultural mechanization? As the name implies, agricultural mechanization is the use of tools, implements, and machines for agricultural purposes. For instance, the use of machine for land development, for crop production, for harvesting, for planting, for storage, and for other processing activities that goes on the farm is referred to as agricultural mechanization. It is the use of engineering principles and technology for production. There are several objectives of agricultural mechanization. Few of them, I'll mention just few. We have quite a lot of them listed in your material, but I will just mention 2 to 3. One of the advantages or the objective of mechanization in agriculture is that it gives you time to cultivate large expanse of land. You can cultivate large expanse of land. It saves time. The time you use in using hoes and cutlasses. If you put a plow to the farm, you reduce the time. It also reduces drudgery. It makes processing and preservation of farm produce very fast. Everything that have an advantage will surely have 1 or 2 disadvantages, and also some problems that will be associated with the use of mechanization. Therefore, we want to quickly look at the constraints of agricultural mechanization in Nigeria. That is, some problems that are facing agricultural mechanization in Nigeria. Top on the list is land tenure system. Land tenure system is the method or system of land ownership. Who owns the land and how to availability of land to farmers. So land tenure system is a very big and challenging constraint to agricultural mechanization because it prevents farmers in owning a large expanse of land. It's difficult to own a large expanse of land that you can put machine to. Number 2 is scattered farm holdings. Scattered farm holding, that is, you have a farm, probably you have about 4 or 5 farms within a particular location. So you have one in Ayegbabi, you have another one somewhere in Igon Road, you have another one near Mini Campus, then you have another one at the permanent site. It becomes difficult for you to put such farm into mechanization, especially when all those farms are small and they are scattered. It will cost you more money to employ a tractor. Another one is the financial constraint, the cost of getting a plow, the cost of funding mechanization. For you to use plow, you want to use an harrow, you want to use a planter, you also want to use an harvester. The cost of getting all these machines, the cost of even hiring them is huge on Nigerian farmers, especially most people that are into farming are relatively poor people and could not afford this cost of production. And then we have inadequate facilities. All these facility machines are not readily available. We have very few of them available. Bad topography, if the land is not relatively flat, it becomes difficult for you to put a tractor to work it. Different type of soil, then inadequate technical manpower. Even where these machines are available, there are no technical power man that can undo there are no mechanics, not trained mechanics that are undo the repair where necessary and the services where they are necessary. Okay, quickly we want to look at the second part of this agricultural machinery, mechanization. So we quickly look at agricultural processing. Agricultural processing. Agricultural processing is defined as the activity that is performed to maintain or improve the quality of agricultural products in order to add value to the materials after production. For example, the processing that is involved from turning cassava to garri is called processing. That is every activity from the harvesting to the peeling to the washing to the grating to the sieving and to the frying and bagging. All of these are involved, called the processing activities. And one of the beautiful advantage of processing is that it's added value. It's add value to crop. The processing operation are classified. We have them in different classifications, so we quickly want to look at them as they follow each other. We have the cleaning, the grading, and the sorting. Then we go on to look at the process of drying, which is the process of dehydration, removing water. So that is another process. Milling and size reduction, that is when we begin to grate them. We have the handling, packaging, and then the transportation. While the last one, the fifth operation, is the utilization of the byproducts. The byproducts. Virtually all crop have byproducts once you have processed them, and the byproducts are also useful. They are also useful at one point or the other. Farm machineries and their characteristics. We want to quickly look at the characteristics of farm machinery. A good agricultural engineer must be able to differentiate between agriculture and every other industry. It is an farm machine engineer needs to be familiar with the basic principles and practices that are involved in agriculture. We want to look at the general requirements of a functioning farm machine. A farm machine, for you to be able to visualize this, let's just look at a tractor as a good example of a farm machine. A tractor that is to be used. What are we supposed to do? What are the requirements for this machine to remain functioning? So we want to look at them. Number one is that they must be consistent with performance. They must be consistent with performance. Number two is that this machine must perform satisfactorily over a range of variables. When you put several things together, several variables, it must have been able to perform very well in each of these variables. Then it must work under the temperature of 40 degrees centigrade. It must work under the temperature of 40 degrees centigrade. Easy to handle. It must be easy to handle. And then it must be easy to maintain. Easy to maintain, especially in developing countries where farmers are very poor. For them to be able to utilize it shouldn't be something that they will need to go and break their purses or banks before they can maintain it. It must be a machine that can be easily maintained, low-cost machine. The design of this machine must also be very simple so that it is easy to handle, it is easy to use for use. You don't need to go and become an expert or an engineer before you can use this machine. So it must be easy to handle and use. We have different types of farm machine or implements, different types of farm machine or implements. We have the first group is called the trailed, trailed, trailed. That is the one that pull, that you have to mount something, or you put something, you adjust something to it, and then it can be used to pull the other implements. So this is called the trailed, and this is a very good example is a tractor that is a plow that is coupled to a tractor. You see, a tractor can pulling a plow or an harrow. Then we say this is a trailed farm implement. Number two, we have semi-mounted implement. Semi-mounted implement. This one is more than just a pull. It is more than just a pull. You have to screw this. In the case of a pull, all you need to do is just put a chain to attach that pull implement to the tractor. But in the case of semi-mounted, you need to mount it. It's beyond just putting a chain to connect them. You need to mount to put it on it partially. Then we have the mounted implement. That is the third one. Mounted implements. These mounted implements, they are implements that are carried by the tractor. The tractor has to carry them. And then we have the last one, which is called the self-propelled machine. Self-propelled machine. That is, these are the ones that can walk on their own. They can walk on their own. We have we'll quickly want to look at one or two of these implements. And the first one we're going to be looking at is a tractor. A tractor. A tractor is a good example. A tractor is an example of a self-propelled machine. That is, it can go on its own. It doesn't need to be attached. It doesn't need to be mounted. It can walk on its own. Tractor has so many features. So we want to look at the engine. It has the engine, and it also has the structural design. When you look at your material, you will find this there. How do you operate a tractor? How do you operate a tractor? It's almost the same thing as how you drive a car. So for as many of you that already can drive, once you are above 18, you can drive a car, then it becomes a bit easy for you to also operate a tractor. The only difference is that a tractor is a bit bigger. Okay? You apply the handbrake, put the gear in neutral, open the throttle a little, then you switch on the ignition. So it's almost the same method. All these implements require maintenance. All these implements require maintenance and services like our normal vehicle. So on daily basis, you want to check the battery of the tractor. You want to check the battery. You want to check the fuel. Check the radiator, that is the cooling system. Be sure that there is water. Check the gear. Check the differential oil, the engine oil. You also check the tires so that when you are in the middle of plowing or working on the farm, the tire will not deflate. You want to check the tire. You want to check the bolts, all the nuts, the pins. Check every greasing point. If each of them need a grease, so that you put a grease before you go to the field. That is the maintenance of a tractor. Just the same way we maintain our car. Before you start your vehicle early in the morning, you want to open the bonnet, check the engine oil. You want to check if there is still water. You want to check the brake fluid. You want to check your transmission fluid and be sure that everything is in place. So we also do the same with a tractor. Soil tillage and tillage machinery. That is the fourth point we are going to be looking at this morning. Soil tillage and tillage machinery. What is tillage? What is tillage? Tillage, simply put, is a mechanical manipulation of the soil to provide favorable condition or favorable environment for the soil to produce a very good soil tilt, to make the soil easy for plants roots to penetrate. So that is simply the definition of tillage, mechanical manipulation of the soil to provide favorable conditions for soil production. The purpose of tillage include to make deep seed beds, to also incorporate the plant residue from your last harvest. When you till your land, you plow them back into the soil. And if you are not using machine, if you are not plowing, you turn them as you make your bed, or as you make ridges, you turn them back into the soil. And these residues that you are turning back into the soil will decompose and also increase the nutrients of your soil. Another one is that when you till your land, you remove unwanted plants that are called weeds. Every unwanted plant on your field will be removed through tillage. Okay? It also provides ease of aeration. It makes it easy for air to travel through the soil. That is another beautiful objective of soil tillage. It makes it easy for air to move in between the soil. It also increases the permeability of the soil. It makes it easy for soil moisture to move in. When there is rain, the water can easily infiltrate into the soil. It destroys the habitat of pests. It destroys habitat of pests. And a good tilt, that is a good tillage system, will also control erosion. A good tillage system will control erosion so that it reduces the runoff on the surface of the soil. Like I mentioned, when you silt the land, you incorporate plant residue, which invariably increases the soil amendment added to your soil. So it's a good way of mixing fertilizer or organic manure into the soil. We quickly want to look at different tillage methods. Tillage machine perform operations such as plowing, harrowing, ridging, weeding, and slashing. So we want to look at all these operations as we break them into two groups. We have what we call a primary tillage operation. Primary tillage operation. From the name, primary, the first stage. And this first stage includes slashing. It includes slashing of the land. It includes the weeding of the land. So every operation that is carried out on the farm to weed, to slash, to stomp is what we call primary operation or primary tillage operation. And the purpose of this tillage operation is to remove the plant cover and make the soil environment favorable for crop. It rearranges the soil aggregates it rearranges the soil aggregates. Okay, we want to look at the secondary tillage machine or operation. Like I said, primary means the initial. And then when we look at the secondary, we're talking about the second stage, an advanced stage after the primary stage. In this stage, you want to redefine the soil condition. You have already made the condition of the soil a little easy for plant roots and seed to germinate and then the root to penetrate. Now you want to make it a little better, and that is when we go to the level of harrowing the land, or using ridgers. When you want to use ridgers, you have already slashed, you have cut the weed, and then you bring in a ridger to make ridges, or you bring in an harrow to break the clods that are made by plow. Then they say that you have gone to the secondary tillage operation. Tillage systems. We want to look at tillage systems. Tillage systems. Tillage system, we have about 3 or 4. For the purpose of this course, we'll just be looking at just 3. And we want to look at the minimum tillage system. As the name implies, minimum means almost zero. Minimum, almost zero, almost not doing anything. And this is also called a zero tillage system. This refers to planting of previous crop into the soil. Now, in this stage, you are not making so much. In fact, you are making little or no difference to the structure of the soil as it is. As it is, you are leaving the soil almost undisturbed. You are not moving the soil much. And one of the purpose of this minimum tillage is to make sure that you reduce soil erosion. You want to make sure you reduce soil erosion, and it also increases moisture content of the soil. We have what we call conventional tillage system. In conventional tillage system, it involves the inversion. Now you are turning the soil. When we say there is an inversion of soil, then we're talking about turning of the soil. The third one is also called the traditional tillage. Traditional tillage system. This involves the preparation of the seed bed, where hoes and cutlasses are used. It involves just cutting the roots of the weeds and packing them off the land. And or sometimes we want to put all the debris together, burn them, and clear the land. Although in recent times, soil scientists have frowned deeply on burn and slash. Rather, we encourage farmers to pack the debris, incorporate back into the soil to increase soil nutrients. In conclusion, we've been able to look at agricultural mechanization as the application of engineering principles and technology to crop production. And I mentioned that involve the use of tools, implements, and machines. And it also increases the rate of production. It increases farmers' income and makes the work less drudgery. With this, we come to the end of agricultural mechanization. I hope to see you next class. God bless you. Thank you for coming.